Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So we're here at it with the Xiaomi FIMI X8 SE drone again. You may have seen my first 3 videos. We did a thorough unboxing and inspection of this guy. Also did a flight test, a maiden flight test, and we tested out basically the main kind of flying functions and just a little bit into the smart functions, but we ran out of battery power. And then I went ahead and did a range test in this kind of like light residential area here just to see what the range was like. But since then we got a couple of updates on the camera and on the range quality strength. So we're gonna put the FIMI X8 through a bunch more tests and we're gonna exhaust a full battery. So anyway, let's get started with the FIMI X8 flight test number 2, testing out the smart functions. Okay guys, so as you can see, I am using the iPad 2 Air here. Now there's no iPad application, there's actually an iPhone app, but what it does is it stretches the screen up to fit the iPad. So we're gonna try it with this. It seemed like it was kind of working at home. We did the initial couple flight tests on an Android phone, but I just wanted to try an iPad. I do have this Mavic Pro mount right here. You can see how it's just sandwiched in here, and it does seem to work. I'll have the links to all this stuff in the description. I should say that this iPad does have a data card in it, a SIM card, so there is data to pull in the maps. You can see how it's pulling in the maps right here, and we're just in the park here on Maui, just trying to take advantage of this awesome weather because it's been super rainy, and this is like one of the only nice sunny days I'm able to do this. So hopefully that the weather holds true for a while. But we want to go and take off on this guy, and we're going to start by checking out our satellites. You can see on the top right we have 14 satellites, and we're going to be really looking at this screen. Remember the video, I'll have the video up on the FIMI X8 so you can see that 4K video. On my initial maiden flight test it was kind of blue tinge to it, so let's see if they've actually fixed that. This is just going to be all auto camera settings again. Hold down on the launch button right here. Here are 2 beeps. And I should say, check out the map. So I flipped the drone launch pad over because Xiaomi explicitly told me that they've tested it only on the white and orange color. I had it on the orange and black color, so it should, they said it should be better at precision landing. So we're going to test that at the end of this battery and see how well it lands automatically and how precision that is. The wind is kind of coming from this direction and it is pushing it back a little bit, but you know, if you're taking this thing on vacation, you want to know what kind of winds it can kind of tolerate. Helmet on the bottom right here, these are our flight modes. We already did kind of a waypoint function. We already kind of did the smart track in the maiden flight test. Let's go ahead and try an orbit first. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go into the orbit, and this is when you have to fly over like a center point. So for this instance, we're gonna go over to that skate park and we're gonna see if we can get some cool footage over the skate park. So I'm just gonna go up kind of high here. I'll have the video up on the screen, guys. I want to get out of this so I can kind of see where I'm flying first. So if I just kind of tap on the video screen, you see how it kind of goes out of that. So I'm gonna go up kind of high so I'm not bugging these guys. And here's one thing I did. You see how the gimbal's rotating super slowly? That's because I went ahead and adjusted that in the gimbal settings. I adjusted it down to like something like 10%. So you can see how smooth that is going up and down, nice and slow. So we'll go ahead and fly over this skate park. There's not too many kids there, so I'm not too worried about it. I want to go a little higher so I'm not bugging them. And I do trust this drone. You don't want to be flying over a bunch of people, but I think it's okay if you're flying over a few people. Don't want like a huge, be flying over a huge stadium. Anyway, so we're directly above this skate park, right? There we go. Gimbal seems to be adjusting with the wind a little bit on its own. So we'll go into our smart functions. We'll go into orbit. Keep away from people and buildings. So that's going to be the center. You see how it shows a target there, and there's a button up here. So I'm going to press settings, center. And this is going to be our radius. So I'm going to pull back on the stick. On the, see how it kind of, the gimbal adjusted itself so you don't have too much jitter. So I'm pulling back on the right stick to figure out what kind of radius we want. So I'm going to stop there. So it's going to be about 245 feet, around 240 I guess. And I'm going to set the radius. And here is our speed. So I'm going to leave it all stock, guys, except for I want to change this to center. I think you see the heading down on the bottom. I'm going to leave everything stock except center. Let's press go and let's see what it does. I think we're going to have to, yes, we're going to have to rotate our gimbal up. So I'm going to let it start going, and now I'm going to rotate the gimbal up. So we're gonna see what kind of shots we can get and how stable this is. There's some guys jamming there on the skate park. They probably hear the drone up above and they're like, let's go do it. Pull out some cool tricks. So it's looking pretty good. I'll have the 4K video up there, and you can see how we can adjust this slider bar on the fly on the bottom to speed up if we want to. It does look like the horizontal speed is quite accurate up there on the top left. Remember on the Android it was a little weird because it was saying it was going vertical speed when it was supposed to be horizontal speed. So iPad looks good, 1.3 miles per hour it should be on the HS up there. And you guys be the judge of how this looks. All I'm doing is pitching the gimbal slightly up and down to keep this thing kind of centered. And it does seem like it's kind of keeping its height good, and this is just the stock speed. Maybe seeing a little bit of sway, but I want you guys to be the judge of that and comment down below if you can see a little bit of the sway in the video. Again, DJI is a master at even in windy situations just locking in and having super stable video, so that's why we need to kind of compare all the other drones' kind of stability to it. Seeing maybe a little bit of sway. I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up by sliding this guy up. Let's go to 20 feet per second. Okay. So we're going faster. Yes, I'm seeing it trying to adjust, and a little bit of wag there. Okay, and there's probably about 10 to 15 up there. There's only about 5 miles per hour down here. But that thing is 355 feet up. So it looks like that center point maybe getting slightly skewed. You see how it's kind of doing like an oval. I haven't moved the camera in a bit, and it's kind of getting out of center just slightly, but it does look very good. Pretty darn good. And that, man, that video signal in this area, you see on the top right there, you see the video, how it's in the red. So I think this just must be a pretty bad interference area, because even in my range test I was having issues, but when I put those parabolic dishes on, it did pretty good. Let's tweak it all the way up to its maximum, 32.8 feet per second. And again, guys, we're just really analyzing the video in its auto orbit and seeing what it can do. So we'll do this just for a second, and then we'll slow it back down. That does look like it's shaking quite a bit. But if we go really slow, let's go to 4.6 feet per second. And that's going to start going down. There we go. So that's as kind of close to as slow as it can rotate. So we'll see how that is. So that's what you can expect for video, guys. Let me click on this orbit here. Oh, can't do anything there. So all we can do is basically X out of it or change our direction on the left and right there. What if I press this blue button here? Nope, that doesn't do anything on the left. Can't go into the map. Oh, we can go into the map. Okay, it was just delayed. So there's the map, and that's basically what it's doing on the map. Kind of cool. So you can see the video in the screen at the very bottom there. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit to 10 feet per second. And you can see in real time what it thinks it's doing on the map. And this is how you're going to do your waypoints too. We did a fly to waypoint, like a pre-flight one in the last one, but this, you can also do waypoints on map with this. And so let's X out of this. Okay. I was just going to stop there. And we want to try some more of these functions. So we want to do, let's just do a tap fly real quick. So basically it's just going to tap on the points. It looks like on the points on the map. So I'll pick up the camera a bit. And and we can manipulate the map however we want. I'm gonna go ahead and tap right kind of next to me and choose destination. Okay, and then I'm just gonna press the arrow. Okay, and you can adjust some of these things. So it's basically using the same kind of waypoint thing, but you're just doing tap fly, like single taps, and it's gonna go ahead and fly. Now guys, keep in mind we are looking at the video, remember, which is super low signal right now. So it is flying over nice and slow. Let me rotate that video down. Again, I have the gimbal super slow. We're looking for like a blue tinge flickering like we saw in the Maiden flight. Let's see if they fixed it. That's all the way down. I'm gonna push the gimbal all the way back up. So we're trying to see if this is like a viable option compared to like the Spark or the Mavic Pro 1, or say stuff like the Anafi, right? We want to compare these drones and see if this is worth the deal it is at like between $400 and $500. Coupons and links down below in the description, guys. Remember, I always have the links down there. If you are satisfied with this drone and you think it's a good deal, go ahead and pick it up through that link. Anyway, it's going to come over to my destination I set. I can still go over to, there we go, I just finished the tap fly. I could still go back into my video if I wanted to. Looking good. While we're here, we'll just kind of rotate, get a nice shot of the West Maui Mountains here. I'm just trying to dial it in. It is right overhead. It seems like it's very weak signal. So there's the West Maui Mountains. Gimbal all the way up, and let's try some more of these smart functions. We already tried SAR in our other one. It gives you, we'll just do it real quick. It gives you like a 3x zoom. See the slider here? So I'm going to slide it all the way up, and I'll have that in the video how it's kind of zooming into 3x, and then anywhere in the line we can adjust it. And you can see the coordinates up there on the top of the screen too. If I rotate the gimbal down, I'll have those coordinates be visible better in the grass there. So that's the SAR mode, just gives you zoom and coordinates for search and rescue basically. So X out of this, okay. And we want to bring it down, so we'll come on down, come a little bit closer, and we'll come on down. And then we'll do some of these other smart functions like the droney shots and stuff. Okay. So I'll have the video kind of recording while I'm doing this. The gimbal does seem to want to go up a little bit when you do kind of push the sticks hard. You know what I mean? It seems like just so the gimbal doesn't reach its limits or something and glitch. So what we'll do is we'll come on down. Full stick down. We can see our vertical speed is now 1.3, negative 1.3. So it looks like maybe that's Android and maybe Apple problem, iOS problem, because in the Android it was all funky. So we're gonna just sit right here. We're gonna pick this gimbal back up, and we're gonna do some of these kind of droney shots and stuff. Get kind of in the camera. There we go, right there. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching my videos. Really appreciate it. We'll go in and we'll do some dronies. First thing we'll do is an invert. So this will go up and back. Let's pick it up so it doesn't hit that fence. And we'll kind of focus in on us here. Whoop. Left and right, there we go. So it's called invert. So we'll hit invert. Control the gimbal to make sure the target is in center view. We'll fly back and up. Okay. And for this we do have to draw, I believe, yes, a box. So we have a box, and we do still have to adjust the gimbal, it seems. Let's just see what it does. I'm going to press arrow, go. We have flight speed, distance. We'll go to 300 feet out. And we'll go at the maximum speed, and we'll go ahead and have it auto return on the bottom right. You see that option. 9 seconds it's going to take to go that far. So maybe we'll go a little bit further. 300 feet, go. So let's see how it keeps us in view. There it goes, going back. Say you're like, yay, with your family on the side of a cliff or something, on the shoreline, on a vacation. You know, and it is doing everything. It's keeping its yaw and it's keeping its gimbal down centered. So that's doing fairly well. Very well. It did lose the target, it seems, but it is still centered. They got so far away. And remember, I clicked that come back option. So yeah, it's coming back. Okay, so this is very comparable to something like DJI where they have this option and it will come back right where it started. I haven't touched any controls since it left. Woohoo, hey guys, doing a droney. Cool, and it's just gonna stop right there. Okay, it's a little higher than it was. Looks like it stopped recording, so remember that. It stayed recording when it started, but it stopped when the action completed. So let's go into another droney and let's go rocket, okay? And for this one, it's gonna go up. So again, I wanna highlight myself and I hope it's gonna start recording. Let's go press the arrow to the right. Let's go maximum flight speed and let's do 300 feet distance again and let's have it auto return. Great features here. Let's see what it does. Just standing here, it should go straight up. Go for it. Whoops. Please drag a rectangle around the shooting target. Thought I already did that. Let's try again. Arrow. Maximum, go. Flight height is too low. Okay, that's strange. So it was able to go up and back with the invert, but not with the this one. So I'll get my gimbal back down a little bit. And we went up a bit. Let's press go, go. There we go. Okay, so it starts recording. Woohoo! Oh, it's flying overhead. That's why it wants you to go up. And the gimbal did turn down. Whoa, come on. Go. There it goes. Woohoo! So let's say you're like laying down. Let's just get the effect and lay down. Woohoo! So we're doing a shot on the beach with the invert. Well, I'm surprised the iPad didn't fall out yet of this mount. Seems to be doing pretty good. Any kind of Mavic mounts, guys, works with this controller for your iPad. So it should go up to 300 feet and then come back. I'm gonna get up real quick. The target is being lost, but it does kind of know where I was, so it shouldn't be too hard for it. Now it's gonna come back. What I like is it continues recording. Some of the DJI stuff stops recording when it gets out to its limit, but this one keeps recording, so that's cool. But as you can see, it's a little bit off now. The wind kind of blew it a bit. I'm not perfectly centered now. My shadow kind of is. That's a long shadow. I'm just gonna tilt the gimbal down a little bit. There we go. That's all the way down. And it should stop recording. Boy, we had a bunch of battery already, didn't we? So let's hurry up. So there it is. So a few more functions. We have 37% or so left. Let's try this spiral. I'll go back a little bit. And in view, set our center point and the radius. Okay, so same as the orbit. So
please land us out to avoid damage.
I guess I'm just gonna walk right under it. So it doesn't have to really, I don't have to move it around. And let's just set the center here. Okay. Height. And let's go distance. Looks like we gotta go a little farther. See how it's in red, the distance? Let's wait till that distance turns white. There we go. 21 feet. We'll go a little higher. Just so we don't hit any trees and stuff. I guess, is this the complete distance of the flight? Guess we'll find out. So height of 75 feet and distance of 50. Let's go a little further back, a little higher up. There we go. Let's see what that does. Okay, 139 and 217 feet. Pressing arrow. Maximum radius. And let's have it return automatically. So if this kind of starts to hit trees, I guess I'm gonna have to go and get it. Let's do a maximum radius of like around 311 feet and go. Let's see what it does. Okay, it should be going. It is recording, so it started recording on this function. Okay, interesting. So it's starting to do its circle from up above, and
low battery. Please land ASAP to avoid damaging.
Wow, they changed the voice. Did you hear that? They updated the voice to, instead of like a Chinese sounding voice, it sounds more like an English Google voice. Okay, so the height is going up. So this is kind of just like a corkscrew spiral. And yeah, it's just locking on a center point. So pretty self-explanatory. So we'll go ahead and stop this once we get out in front of us again, because it's just a corkscrew. Okay. All right, we're gonna stop it right there. So what that is, guys, that's just a modified orbit. Cinematic mode, let's go into cinematic and let's see what this does. So maximum speed forward and maximum turning. Whoa, really? That's cinematic, huh? I don't see how that's any better at yaw than original. Or horizontal speed. Okay, it limits, I guess, the horizontal speed. I'm trying to get a cinematic. Let's try some cinematic shots. Just pull up to the mountain here. So if you're looking at getting some really kind of mellow, easy cinematics, there you go. Anyway, that's cinematic mode. You can click on it to take off the words, I guess. We'll stop it and we'll try something else before our battery dies. We tried droning, we tried SAR, cinematic. Oh, tripod is the one that super slows it down, I think. Oh yeah, so there's full yaw, got a lot slower. So that's full yaw. And this is full stick forward now. Yeah, so it's just very, very slow. You see how slow it's moving? We're getting some cinematic. So that's what you can expect for that. I'm gonna come down so you guys maybe can see this in my hat cam a little better. Full stick down, you can see how the vertical speed is also slowed way down. Instead of it being several miles per hour, it's only like a half a mile per hour. And the yaw is tuned a lot smoother. And full stick forward, we can only go a half mile per hour. So it locks, the movement locks into about a half mile per hour, guys.
The drone is returning.
That's what's going on with the cinematic, or tripod mode, sorry, not cinematic. Cinematic's like a step down from normal control. And then tripod is even way slower. 17% battery, man. We better hurry the heck up. Man, we still can't do all of our functions, can we? So I'm gonna go out of tripod. We know what that does. And really all there is left is course lock.
Please fly carefully.
And all that's doing, it should be like a headless mode. Let's try it real quick because I want to do a return to home. So if I'm facing out and I press OK, control stick to adjust direction. So say I want the head facing left, I'm going to press go. And if I pull back towards me,
Low battery. Please land.
no. That didn't seem to really do anything. It wants me to land. I thought it was going to be like a headless. and I was gonna be able to
Critical low
pull back
battery.
towards me.
The
Maybe
drone
I'm
is
doing that
landing.
wrong. Anyway, you
Low
kind of see in my hat
battery.
cam
Please
that
charge or
wasn't really
replace.
working.
Low battery. Please
So I'm
charge
gonna
to SAT.
continue recording,
Low battery.
guys, and I want to
Please
do
charge or
a return to
replace.
home. The only thing we didn't get to was the fixed wing mode, but that's pretty self-explanatory. It just like mixes the yaw and the pitch and the roll together. So we'll do real quick. We'll fly it out here, and we'll do a return to home and see how close it lands, guys, to this. Ooh, I'm jerking it all around.
Low battery for RTH. Plessy fly carefully. Only RTH battery level left. The drone is
You hear that?
returning.
Okay, so this thing does have a automatic return to home on low battery. So you don't have to worry about being out there and be like, oh, I wonder if it has enough power to get back. Once it knows, it knows. You know what I mean? So this is gonna be great. We're gonna do a return to home, and we're gonna see how close it lands to this launch pad. In the maiden flight, remember I was saying I had it flipped over to the black side with an orange
Battery.
H.
Please fly carefully.
Critically low battery at 10%. We got that warning. Okay, so I do like the voice change in that update. I'm wondering if it's still going to be able to do its precision landing even in critically low battery. It may cancel out of that because it's critically low, because that doesn't look very close. Here's some wind from my right, gusting at like 5 to 10. Yeah, so that's not precision. That's it's normal, if not more.
Battery.
We'll let it land. Okay.
Low battery. Please charge or replace. Low battery. Please charge a SAT. Low battery. Please charge or replace.
Okay, and then it talks to you. So they just totally changed the voice. So I'm gonna shut this off. This is how far it went away from its launch point. 1, 2, 3. That time it was 5 feet away. All the other times it was 3 feet away. And so it doesn't seem to really matter to me what color your launch pad is, as far as what Xiaomi was telling me. They only tested on this color, right? Okay guys, so let's talk a little bit about the FIMI X8, and in that smart function flight test, it does look like they maybe took care of a lot of that blue flicker we were seeing in the last maiden flight test. And I want you guys to be the judge of that too, because it's a little difficult for me to see in the FPV exactly the tone of the image. The orbit worked fairly well, but you do have to go over your center point, which is kind of irritating, but you do have to do that apparently. We never tried the smart track over the skate park. Maybe you could draw a box around the skate park and try to smart track it. So maybe that'll be another video. But the orbit worked fairly good. I did see, even in the FPV, a little bit of that yaw wag there on circling around that point. So still to this point, really nothing can beat the Mavic and Phantom Pro line of drones, as far as even in any kind of wind, just locking in and giving you a great orbit with no yaw wag or anything. So this one had a little bit of that. The tap fly, it's basically just a single waypoint type of deal. It's kind of gimmicky, not very impressive, but it did what it's supposed to do, I guess. The droney worked very well. You could do a invert where it went up and out from you, and you could adjust all those settings. I liked how it could come back, and you could also do a rocket where it would fly over your head. That's why you had to go up a little higher, and then it would just shoot up and then come back down. So those worked very well. The spiral, basically an orbit with a little bit of height fluctuation, so it worked basically the same as an orbit. The SAR, fine for what it is. You get a little bit of zoom and you get your coordinates up on the screen if you're doing a search and rescue. Good idea to record the screen while you're doing that search and rescue. Cinematic mode, it's just a little bit less fast than regular GPS mode. Of course, this does have a sport mode too, but you got to go into other settings, which I don't like, and enable and disable that. This has a tripod, which is basically what you're probably going to use for cinematic stuff. Tripod is very slow. It brings everything down to a 0.5 mile per hour, slows down the gimbal and everything. Keep in mind, I did have my gimbal speed slowed down from 100%, how it came stock, down to 10%. So that's why my gimbal was going so slow, and you can just adjust that in the settings. Course lock, I don't know, maybe I was doing something wrong with that, but I thought it was gonna be something like headless mode, where you pick the direction you want it to lock into, and then when you pull the stick back towards you, it doesn't matter which way it's facing, it'll just come back towards you, but it seemed to fly normal when I did that. So maybe I was doing something wrong there. We didn't get the fixed wing, but I'd imagine it's just the same as what DJI does, where it kind of mixes the yaw and the pitch and the roll. So you're kind of flying it more like a plane instead of like a regular drone for that sensation. Oh yeah, the precision landing, this is the worst I've seen it do. So a little bit unfortunate, but that could have been because it was going into its it's extremely low battery landing. So perhaps when it goes into that, it kind of cancels out its precise landing, is what they call this, and it's just going to land anywhere close to the point. So that may have been the issue, but it did seem like it was another 2 feet off. The other 2 landings or 3 landings I've done have been always within 3 feet. So that's kind of what to expect on the return to home landing on this. Not bad for me. If it's within 5 feet, I have no problem with that. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. We're doing a bunch of tests for the FIMI X8 because we really want to just see how good this thing is. And it does work very well with the iPad. Got the iPad up there. Again, everything in the description here, including the X8 with a coupon that you guys can get up to like $75 or so off. So that'll bring it down to close to 400 bucks. So is that a good competitor to something like if you're deciding between the Anafi and the Spark? And this, or the Mavic Pro 1, this is a pretty good competitor, man. I'll have the flight time up here. I forgot to tell you guys that I'll have the flight time for this flight up. This is right around the 8th or 9th charge on this battery, the cycle of the battery. So we should be reaching its kind of premium efficiency on the battery. Definitely something to think about. That it's got them all beat with the flight time, I believe. So if you're looking for flight time, and the only thing it doesn't have is sensors if you're comparing it to the Mavic 1. I think the Mavic 1 does have the forward obstacle avoidance sensors. But if you don't care about that, man, you may want to get this instead because it is a great drone. I love the design. I love the look of it. And I think they're going to be coming out with a Pro model, they said, which will have more sensors and probably a better camera and stuff and be probably a little bit more money. But for what it is, great drone. I think it's definitely worth the price. And I will see you guys in the next video. The next one we're doing for this one is another range test in the country. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that extreme range test to see how far it'll go in no interference with and without those parabolic dishes on the antennas. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.